Awesome. Thank you. All right, let's do the approval of the agenda. It's recommended, the administration recommends that the board of directors approve the September 18th, 2024 board meeting agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, consent items, good list here tonight. The administration recommends the board of directors approve the consent items for September 18th, 2024 board meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? No. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, turn that over to you now. You got recognition stuff? Okay, some recognition.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce our athletic director, Brian Kalin, and Tony Clark for a very special recognition for one of our staff members.
Hi, Lori. Hi, everybody. I wanted to, can you hear me okay? Okay. Well, thank you for giving us this opportunity to present this award. I want to present this award to Aaron Radford. It comes from the Inside Out initiative, and it comes with the Seattle Seahawks. And basically the purpose behind the Inside Out initiative is bringing high school athletics back to the core of what we're really about, which is educational leadership and developing character in people. It's a shift from being transactional and worried about winning and losing to being transformational, but worried about growing young women and men. And so with that, the Seattle Seahawks and the Inside Out Foundation saw it fit to recognize Aaron Radford with the Leadership Award that we're presenting to him now in front of you. So thank you, Aaron Radford.
Yep, we have smile for pictures.
Wow. All right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Hey, Tony, did you say that was from the Seahawks? Is that from the Seahawks? Wow.
I know, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, are you moonlighting now as a spokesperson for the Seahawks? Yeah, I know. Okay, so now you finally got the connection. Right. Mr. Clark happens to be a 49ers fan. Yes. Hello, Tony. Yeah, thank you, Tony.
All right, so superintendent comments?
So I normally don't take up a lot of time during superintendent comments, but if you would indulge me, hey, Tony, stick around for like 2 seconds because you're part of this. Like 2.5 minutes. That's all I need. Because I just have 2 words to say, and it's thank you. I'm looking at a lot of tired people in this room tonight, actually exhausted people. Can't thank Dr. Ament and Brian Shear enough for running point the last few days. It started last Thursday morning when I called 2 at 3 a.m. and said, wake up, get out of bed because we have a situation, and they get straight to work. And by the time school started, we had that one under wraps. And huge thanks to our Bonnie Lake Police Department. Could not have asked for a better response and partnership. SRO Brandon Anderson is in the room as well from the Sumner Police Department. Been busy, also tired, and just can't thank you enough for the work that you've done. Tony, I think I've talked to you every day. Multiple times. Tony and Jeff Baines, Adam Euler, Toby, Amy Montgomery, just working nonstop. I think I called you Saturday morning, and Tony was like, I'll come in, and I was just like, hold on, like, let's just see what's going on. And Tony, you just, you really kept things together. Your staff were incredible. Your secretaries, I mean, everybody in this district pulled together over the course of so many days. And we are a little tired, but our kids are safe. And Brian and 2 have gone to schools every day, like multiple schools, like 6 or 7, just to visit, to make sure everything's okay. We've had police presence. It's been an impressive response from this community, from parents. We were at Bonnie Lake High School yesterday morning, and it was just so nice to hear parents pull up in the pickup drop-off line, and they said, thank you. And I actually looked behind me because I was just like, are they talking to me? And it was nice to see parents roll their window down and just acknowledge the hard work that's gone into the past few days. And it was nice to see staff coming to school smiling, and kids. There are a lot of kids. So just want to make sure I got everybody on our CSOs, our SROs. Mike Gold was up at Bonnie Lake High School. I think he just kind of like camped out up there. Yeah. We had 3 officers, or 2 at one point at Mountain View. Taylor Graham, one of our former students, was there. So it was just a great response, but thank you to everyone. And Brian, telling you, the work you did was nothing short of heroic. David Brower had the great task of responding to how many vector alerts? Yeah, but he was on the computer just responding immediately to parents to alleviate any concern, but nicely done. Thanks for everything, really. You need some rest. Maybe this weekend? Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah. But thanks.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. All right. So that brings us to board member comments. Paul, do you want to start?
Sure. I'm not sure if the rest of the board has been receiving emails from WASDA about the general session coming up. Have you guys received those? Is anybody interested in reading through the pamphlet? And I'm pretty sure you can attend Zoom, and pretty much you end up kind of trying to put forth, you do a little prep beforehand, but you put forth typically your top 10 priorities, legislative priorities, and you work with Lori to do that. And it's not all bad. It's just a little bit of, it does take some time to do it.
So is this you don't want to be the
Yeah, I'm
legislative
not
rep?
gonna be able to do it this year.
Okay.
And so I thought I would see if anyone else was interested. Because I've done it many years, it doesn't take me too long. I'm willing to help, but I can't spend, usually it's almost a day just on the Zoom session. But again, you do some stuff beforehand. I would say you could probably streamline it a little bit by taking last year's priority list and see if it's still applicable. And then read up on the new proposals they have. I don't know how many they have, but usually it's 5 to 10 new proposals. They debate it, then they vote on it, but it's a learning experience. If you guys, anyone interested, I would just throw it out. I will help, but I'm unable to do it this year.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting us know. And we can either circle back to that during board discussion or talk about that and get back at the next meeting, and maybe at the next study session, talk about it some more. Is that all you have, or?
I think you probably have to make up your mind before the next study session.
Oh, is it? Okay. Good to know. Bill, you got anything?
So going prior to the events the last week or so, when I retired, I thought I would have all this time, and I was excited because one of the things I always did was the back to school supplies events for the kids. Little did I know that retirement meant really I had a second job, which was full-time grandfather. And unfortunately I missed it, but I did talk to some families who benefited from the events this year. And I'm so thankful. And Mayor Lee, who I know is a huge push behind this, but there are so many. And I probably have her give hours and hours of discussion of who was involved and who picked up what and such. But it's just such a great thing for our community to have. And I really appreciate it. I really was sad I wasn't able to make any of the events, but when the kids say I need a ride here, or when my wife says you're doing this for that one, there's no question, I guess. And Paul, I would love to do that, but I'll actually be out of town for the next 3 or 4 weeks with lovely Mrs. Gaines. So unfortunately, guys, I won't be able to participate in the WASDA legislative thing. So I really apologize.
It sounds like it's shifting down this end of the dais, and I'm sure by the time it gets down here, we'll manage to pick up the pick it up. Well, we'll get it figured out. I think, Paul, you've done such a great job with it, for a long time that I think you've made the process pretty easy to follow.
And if you can't attend, usually the president, so Aaron would have to do a little bit of stuff. It's mostly responding to an email to designate you as the representative for our district. At the very least, put together, the priorities and submit the priorities. And that wouldn't take a long time. But again, I need to pass the baton, and I'm unable to do it this year too. So
Totally understandable. I think that it's an important thing that we do. It's our chance to voice to our legislature the things that we find important in our district and the things that we would like them to work on. So it will get done. If nobody else takes it, I'll take it and we'll get it done. So any other comments from you? No, JB?
I feel like I'm in a game of musical chairs and the music's about to stop and I don't have a chair. So I just want to, I think, quickly comment and kind of almost piggyback on what Lori was saying, but I think timing is everything. And last week we had a study session, which was about safety. And it was, an opportunity to hear Brian and several, we had the SROs there. We had our chief cyber safety, Keith was there. And so they laid out the plan of the communication and the just the thought into the preparation that has gone into, how they look at this hurdle. It's just a huge task because it's a, big district and a lot of kids and a lot of people. And so I will say that having had that opportunity to listen to that, there was a definite confidence in their abilities and the attention that was being given. And I will also wanted to comment on the communication. I think it's such a difficult thing to do because everybody is worried and everybody's scared, and there's no doubt about it. Communication needs to come quickly, but it needs to have it has to have the facts behind it, or it doesn't do anybody any good. And I felt very good about the communication that was sent out. We had, morning, afternoon, evening. It was clear, it was concise, it was factual, it was based on what, not just, rumors. It was very, working collaborative with the police department. So again, I felt like there was an excellent job done by the schools, the administration, and the time that was put into that. So it doesn't make any of us feel better. None of us like what happens, and it doesn't make us feel better about what happened in our community in general this weekend. But the way I think our district responded, we should be proud of. So I just want to say that.
Awesome. Thank you. I wanted to jump on the comments about the back to school events. I was able to make it to, I think, all of them. And it was just the growth. It started with just the backpacks for kids that needed, food over the summer and that sort of thing. And then it's evolved into school supplies. And then this year, there were shoes for the kids. There was extra food donated by the food bank. There was tons of resources for parents. And I just love the fact that we found a need early on and then have thrown it into this, festival of an event that everybody can come to and get what they need. And it just saw so many happy families that were able to attend those. And it was just a really cool thing to put on. And thank you to everybody that was involved in making that a success. So those were great. And that means we're back to school and hopefully everybody's hitting their stride. And I know this week, so it's only been so many days, but it probably feels a lot more right now with everything that's going on. So awesome. All right. So that leads us to audience comment. Mr. Bauer.
As we move into audience comment, the board recognizes the value of public comment on education issues and the importance of involving members of the public in its meetings. Comments from the public are taken under board advisement and may or may not receive action at future meetings. Topics including charges or complaints against employees, employment or dismissal of personnel, acquisition of real estate, lawyer-client relationships, campaigning, and parameters for negotiations should not be discussed in audience comments. Other information, questions, or problems can usually be addressed by district staff. The audience comment period will end when all registered speakers have been heard, and we ask that everyone adhere and understand the following guidelines. In order to maintain respect for all points of view, the school board requests no clapping, booing, or any other form of support or non-support be used. The board will not respond to comments, but will take them under advisement. The speakers should be courteous and professional, refrain from using profanity, vulgar language, threatening or defamatory comments. As a reminder, individuals are not permitted to name a specific staff member, board member, or student during public comments. Failure to do so may result in the board president or designee interrupting or ending the comment. Please remember that your words have impact, and you, not the school district, are responsible for your words. We caution all speakers that it is possible that your statements could violate these rights, the rights of others, under various laws, including laws protecting privacy and laws prohibiting defamation. If you're unsure of the legal effect of your remarks, please seek independent legal advice. In any case, we ask that you help us model for our students what a respectful and inclusive community looks and sounds like. The audience comment process is as follows. Speakers registered by noon yesterday will be heard. Those providing in-person public comment, please come to the podium when your name is called and state your name. If you're providing virtual public comment, when your name is called, you will be promoted to panelist. Please take yourself off mute before you begin speaking. Address comments to the school board as a whole. Individuals will have 3 minutes as shown by the clock to speak and may not cede or give their time to another speaker. I will signal speakers when 1 minute remains. Our first audience comment tonight is a virtual comment by Bill Bevart.
Can you hear me? I had a quick
I think
question
we can hear
about.
you.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
Oh, hang on 1
Um,
second. We're gonna adjust your volume. 1 second, please.
Thank you.
All right, give me a testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Perfect. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
Perfect. I had a quick question that was stemming probably the last couple of years. I live near Bonnie Lake Elementary. I have 3 children in the school district. The traffic situation, when it comes to drop off and pickup of children, I've seen time and time again numerous almost accidents right in front of my home, especially at Bonnie Lake Elementary. The way they've had it set up for the last couple of years is very, very dangerous. I know there's a lot of parents that don't have the resource to put their children on the bus. They, rely on maybe grandparents or other people, members of their family, to drop them off, pick them up. My son last year was at the school, and numerous times he has almost been hit by people coming up and down the way they have Bonnie Lake Elementary set up. And it does make a hindrance for people who are like myself, trying to get home from work, having to wait an astronomical amount of time just to try to get to their own home. Is there any way possible that there's going to be any kind of restructuring of this issue? Because there's no police presence as far as the traffic infractions. There's people cutting down Locust and going through the church and speeding around, and it's only going to be a matter of time before something happens. I don't know what I've spoken with, I think, the district board member a couple of years ago, and I actually volunteered while I was able to work from home as a crossing guard, because there isn't really any sidewalks going up the backside, the south side of Bonnie Lake Elementary, and the road is really narrow. And I just have a feeling that, if something may happen, just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention to maybe do a traffic study on how to reroute parents picking up and dropping off. Because I know the buses used to come on the backside, and the pickup was in front. But then, of course, there's always going to be some complaints of people parking on the side of the road, or some homeowners that don't like the situation that's going on. I just wanted to bring it up to see if there's any possible way that the district's gonna try to remedy some of these solutions, especially up here, because someone's gonna get hurt and something's gonna happen to somebody as far as a car accident. And I've witnessed it numerous times. So I just wanted to bring it up to you, and that's what I wanted to bring up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very much.
Our next audience comment is in person, Terry McCoy.
First, thank you for the report, the update, very much appreciated. So good evening, Superintendent Dent and Board of Directors. My name is Terry McCoy. Due to the frightening events on the 16th, Cairo media reported fear of gun violence swept its way through Bonney Lake on Monday, with parents pulling their kids from Mountain View Middle School after rumors of threats targeting students circulated on social media. And the report continues, parents received an email from the principal of Mountain View Middle School stating awareness of posts on social media regarding threats of violence against specific Mountain View students. Continuing, the principal stated, "We have been working with law enforcement to address this issue." At the time of the initial Cairo report, the school district, the principal of Mountain View, and the Bonney Lake Police Department all agreed the threats were unsubstantiated. The district reported nearly 1/3 of students at Mountain View Middle School did not attend or were pulled out of school early. The Cairo report said, quote, "The police department said the threat is not real, but parents say otherwise," unquote. According to Cairo 7 News staff, we now know 3 Bonney Lake schools were targeted with threatening social media posts. Lake Ridge Middle School and Bonney Lake High School were the other 2 schools involved. But officials with the school district said the threats are not credible. Thank God no children were physically harmed, but how do children overcome the real fear they experienced? How long will it take kids not to be afraid in the days ahead, or if a similar incident occurs? How does what took place impact their ability to focus on learning if they don't feel safe? A parent interviewed by Cairo stated, quote, "This stuff isn't being taken seriously at all," unquote. How many other parents or guardians feel the same way? When and how often are parents, the most important people in a child's life, asked to regularly and systematically collaborate in the district's resolve concerning safety issues? I don't know the answer, but I am curious. Hopefully someone from the district will contact that parent for further discussion. She definitely has a strong opinion based on what? If they don't know her name, all someone needs to do is watch the Cairo interview. Parents are the primary stakeholder in the upbringing and well-being of their children. How well does the creation and implementation of safety policies in our district reflect that? Without a doubt, this is a real wake-up call for all of us. And I do want to add a great thank you to Brian Shear for the work and the study session that was presented on safety, and all that he and his team do. So, and thank you to everybody in the district.
Thank you. Our next audience comment is in person, Jennifer Hoffman.
Hi. According to the National Education Association and PACER and stopbullying.gov, 75% of shooting incidences at schools have been linked to bullying and harassment. 64% of children who are bullied did not report it, and nearly 70% of students think schools respond poorly to bullying. I'm a mom in the Sumner-Bonney Lake School District. We moved here 2 years ago looking for a safer and better education than our previous. There are some things I'm happy with and some I am not. I've been learning more and more about families that have been bullied throughout the district and schools sometimes seem to be ignoring the situation when parents reach out for help. I've been thankful for the past 2 years that my son was at Sumner Middle School and seems to have a good operation that they did last spring called spring training. The school called me and included me in on what was going on and how they were going to proceed as my son was a victim by another student. I was shocked and impressed that the school actually seemed to care and reached out to me. It seems like schools in the last few years have stopped doing this, and parents and guardians seem to be left out and don't even know what's going on. But now another time they said my son was rude to another kid, and I admit I do not have perfect children, but I got called about it, and I can usually read my children pretty well if they're lying or not. And when he told me the story of what happened, it seemed like he didn't even realize what he had done. He used his own words of what happened, but the teacher in charge, who was also one to pick on him, wouldn't believe him. So he got lunch detention, which we got handled a different situation really well through the principal. Let me say that he is also on the spectrum and often in his own world. But now that he's starting the high school, I hope it goes better. And I've had a good time and a bad time with Sumner Middle School, but that doesn't erase what the others have gone through the other schools. If one system works, how long does it take to get implemented into the other schools in the same district? The spring training, which takes place following baseball, sounds like a really good thing. Kids either get strikes for doing bad behavior or they get home runs if they do good behavior. And yeah, so I just also want to know, how often are teachers and staff getting trained? It seems like it's been a while, and I'm glad that you guys brought up the WASDA meeting, because I really would encourage if someone could go, because it really helps us and puts the word out and a vote out for all the people in this district.
Thank you. Our next audience comment is virtual, and it is Balvina Cortez. And we're going to have you wait. We're having some technical difficulties with our clock, so we're going to have you. Balvina, are you there?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Okay, I think we can hear you, Balvina. Give us just a moment while we reset our clock. We apologize. There we go. You can begin.
Okay, with 6 children aged 3 to 22, I've interacted with multiple school districts: Tacoma, Bethel, Puyallup, and Seattle. And I'm currently an active participant in district, city, and state committees. While districts operate similarly, unfortunately, Sumner-Bonney Lake School District, in my opinion, lacks a welcoming atmosphere. Parents leave feeling that their concerns are dismissed. Communication with the district feels one-sided, with limited opportunities for meaningful dialogue. If parents are expected to speak at board meetings or attend study sessions in order to be heard, that's not equitable. In my experience, other districts provided follow-up. As I mentioned, I'm always eager to represent my community. I have explicitly asked for a way to collaborate, and even then, I was not made aware of a safety committee. It is not advertised or easily accessible via your website, even when looking for it, and basically invisible from a mobile phone. Joining PTA seems the only option, but their vision and mission, quite honestly, doesn't align with my mission and vision. I can't pop popcorn or pass out candy when my kid can't read and write. 3 minutes is not enough to bring to light the concerns parents have. We need adequate representation, and not just any representation to check the box. Again, being part of many committees, I have that experience that unfortunately not all committees are action-driven. We sit, we eat, we receive stipends, but nothing meaningful comes out of those. There's others that are action-driven, but after building a nice presentation, our feedback gets shelved. Speaking of nice deck presentation, I was here at the study session, had many questions. Thankfully, some of the board members touched on those. But I gotta say, this district might be ahead of its plan, but it's behind in implementing and updating policies that other districts have long ago implemented. HIP policies have not been updated since 2013, from what I quickly glanced. I might be wrong. Dyslexia screening law passed in 2021, and I had to fight to get my child appropriate services. And who is representing the SPED students and families because they're grossly underserved? Again, 3 minutes is not enough. I sure do hope that parents and districts make some changes and collaborate more efficiently. I'll leave with this note: parent involvement is crucial. We need more parents to step up and represent. Don't drop off your children and expect a good outcome. Be active in your children's education. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next audience comment is also virtual. Laura Mapes. Give a moment here. Okay, Laura appears not to be in the queue. Our next audience comment is Janet Oliver in person.
Hello, my name is Janet Oliver, and I live in Bonnie Lake. I've been here 45 years. I have 3 grandchildren, one in elementary, middle, and high school. And school shootings are on all of our minds, especially with the threats against our schools this week. And thank God they were unfounded. But I read an article by 2 criminal justice professors that said most school shootings don't just happen out of nowhere. There are typically warning signs. I think we all know that from the recent shootings across the United States. They cited a 2019 Secret Service report that detailed a list of commonalities among shooters. They all had interests in violence, were bullied by peers, regularly got into trouble at school, and had negative home life factors: drug, alcohol, mental or physical abuse, criminal charges, and domestic violence. Most mass shooters, they determined, are driven by despair and anger. Over 80% showed signs of a crisis before the shooting. 90% leaked their plans ahead of time to others by leaving posts, messages, or videos warning of their intent. These warnings in advance, they determined, are just a final desperate cry for help. They said the key to stopping these tragedies is being alert to these warning signs, which we know, but acting on them immediately. We need staff that continually monitors problem students and helps them and their families connect to school or community-based services or interventions. That would include peer mentoring. If we just keep punishing behavior and even criminalizing threats over and over without getting them help, it just increases the risk for violence by worsening grievances that they have against the teachers, staff, and students. This month I attended the school board study session, and I now know that Bonnie Lake Sumner School District has an amazing advanced technological security system for our schools if a shooter were to get in. But I'm wondering if we have a plan and the staff to monitor the students who we know need help before something happens. Can we help these kids with mentoring, protection from bullying, and friendship? Can we get other students involved to be kind to them, to befriend them, to support the kids who feel alone and friendless? And I know that sounds like pie in the sky, wishful thinking. I know there are so many variables in each of these kids' stories, but can we start somewhere to help them find meaning and hope in their lives? Let's not let it get to the point where all they can think of is getting back at the people in the world that they think have let them down and don't care about them.
Thank you. That ends our audience comments for this evening.
Okay, thank you everybody for your comments. All right, we'll get to business matters, some of our action items. The first one on our list, the administration recommends the board approve the 3-year SPLEA collective bargaining agreement and salary schedule, the 2024 to 2027 SPLA summary extracurricular CBA, the 24-25 coach salary, and the 24-25 advisory salary. Do I have a motion on this?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Nope, seeing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay. All right, motion passes. All right. Okay.
Um, due to a relative in these groups, I want to make sure it's noted that I abstained.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Charmaine, if you'll note that for us, please. Thank you. All right. Our second one, the administration recommends the board approve the 3-year Classified Administrative Professionals Association, also referred to as CAPA, contract and salary schedule. You'll see it on your agenda as 2024-2027 CAPA Collective Bargaining Agreement Summary and 24-25 CAPA Salary Schedule. Do I have a motion on this?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second,
Any discussion?
glad they're happy. All right, they seem to have voted in pretty good numbers rather quickly, so that was a good sign. So, yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, motion passed. Yeah. No. Okay. Thank you for noting that, Bill. All right, next we have an information only budget status report. The Chief Financial and District Operations Bang Parkinson has provided a budget report for July to the board information. You'll find it in your packet. And the next item on the agenda is our action on policy matters. For board policies in accordance with policy 1310, adoption and amendment of policies and bylaws, the following policies have been included for second reading and adoption. The first one being the district administration recommends the board adopt the following district policies in accordance with policy 1310, adoption and amendment of policies and bylaws. So we have 3205, sex discrimination and sex-based harassment for students. We have 3206, pregnant and parenting students. We have 4040, public access to district records. We have 5005, employment and volunteers disclosure certification requirements, assurances and approval. We have 5011, sex discrimination and sex-based harassment for staff. We have 5013, rental family or marital status and pregnancy for staff. We have 6810, energy management and conservation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Yeah, second.
Second.
Second. All right. Any discussion? No. All right. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. We have a presentation? No. Okay. All right. Next is board discussion. Is there any board discussion for the evening?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. Lots of good comments tonight. I think that one of the themes were, meeting the kids and the parents where they're at. I know we work hard to get a lot of parent input. It's not always easy. And so we've heard it from the public. And from my perspective, I think we try. But if they're not hearing it, maybe we need to look at some other alternatives. And that's a discussion that unfolds throughout the year. It's not anything that's easy to accomplish. So, but I would like to compliment the district. Since I've been here for almost 9 years, we've done much better job, including the public, doing committees, getting input. But yet, sometimes it's still not enough. I realize that. But we do try. And it's when comments bravely get up there and talk, they help us realize that maybe we need to double down and keep trying. So thank you for the comments.
Thank you, Paul. Bill, did you have any topics for tonight?
I appreciate the comments that were made. One of them, and I apologize, I put my piece of paper down and I can't find it. But you talked about what are we doing to help students be included? How do we, especially those that are disenfranchised in that? And I keep telling myself I'm going to quit saying this. But for all the years I was in the building, not only did I work on my building, but I worked from the elementary school, preschool, all the way up through. Bonnie Lake High School is doing every one of our schools is working those areas. So I'm wondering though, if we could get some kind of concise presentation that would help the community understand what we're doing, including one of the connections Lori and I have is that she had a rough group one year and she called up just before school started and wanted to know if she could use one of my staff members who is nationally known in the area of social emotional learning. And not only did we do that, but we went up, made one of my vice principals wear the Spartan outfit. We had party with Sparty if the kids learned all of the components of the social emotional learning in her building and that. But that's really is happening. I think it's one of the bright shining stars amongst all the many stars. So I wondered if we could, I know there's a lot going on, so it may take a while, but could we do some type of brief presentation that just kind of shows the comprehensiveness of those efforts that are going on, because they truly are amazing. And one of the reasons I'm so proud that my grandchildren are in this district doing that.
Yeah, I know having children in the district recently that there's a lot of clubs and programs and things that they join, and it'd be great to maybe if we did have some kind of summarization of different groups that they can get involved with and that sort of thing from, you know, from what they're doing at Bonnie Lake to what they're doing at Sumner High School, the Spark Crew and all of that. So,
Well, and the connection, I know she just retired, but Jeannie Larberg, but her position, you know, usually those are connected with working directly with the kids and stuff, but she works with all those different programs or somebody in that. So it is really comprehensive, and it really is throughout the district. And I'm just wondering if we show that a bit.
thank you, Bill. Awesome. Did you have any topics for discussion, JB?
I'm going to echo, what my other board members have said. I thought tonight's comments were very thoughtful. They were based in personal experience and therefore useful because they're more actionable that way. I also appreciated the commentators' willingness to be part of the solution, because that's going to be, any solution is going to require a collaborative approach. So I think like my other board members mentioned, they're not easy solutions, and they don't happen overnight. And there are some of them in the works. So that's also highlights our opportunity where we know that those things are involved to make sure that we're bringing that forward so that people are aware of it. So again, I want to really thank the community for being here. I want to thank them for their comments. They're thoughtful and very considerate comments, and so it's helpful, and we do take them to heart and think about how we can best address them. So thank you.
Thank you, JB. Yeah, I'll echo that. I think too, as we get more and more people that come and give comment, they learn kind of the process. And I think the process for public comment is designed very purposefully to be heard and not necessarily have an immediate response from the board, because we don't want to end up, you know, in an argument right here in this room. But we do take extensive notes and write down what people have said, and then we follow up as a group and talk about what kind of things that maybe need more communication or things that maybe we haven't thought of. But there definitely is areas that we can always do better at, but there are areas that we shine at as well, and we appreciate everybody's public comment. So without, yeah, go ahead, Paul.
I've been kind of on a kick for the last year, really trying to encourage people that, have issues or concerns with the district to come to the study sessions. I think people are going to get far more information from a study session, whether they come in person or whether they watch them on the internet later when they have a chance. But you're going to get information about what the district is attempting to do. We try to ask the best questions we can ask at the time, but that gives the public the ability to take a week and really digest what they saw and come up here and ask. Like one of the commentators said, it does take a lot to get to that microphone and do a public speech for 3 minutes. Write an email and send it to the board. You can also make public comments via written statement to the board too. So there, we do try to engage the public. These comments are important, but please tell your friends, come out. This staff does some amazing study sessions. And again, you don't get to ask questions, but you can always follow up with board members later. So thanks for letting me talk.
Yeah, I think it's good. It's always a chance to remind everybody the difference between a board meeting and a study session. Board meetings are where business gets done in public, which is why you don't see a lot of back and forth. But study sessions are the chance for us as a board to discuss matters We're not allowed to discuss them outside of these meetings. If there's more than 2 people in a group, we're in a quorum, and that's an official meeting. So we can't talk out in public amongst ourselves. So study session is our chance to ask questions and talk and have that dialogue. So if there is a topic that people want us to talk about or bring up, please email us and we can bring those things up at study session and talk as a group. So, yeah. Right. Okay. If nothing else, our announcement for the next regular scheduled board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 16th, 2024. It will begin at 6 p.m. in this central office boardroom. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.